Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media. Today with us, we have the presence of Datuk Sri Hishamuddin Tun Hussein, Acting Minister of Transport, Datuk Hamzah Zainuddin, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Datuk Aziz Kaprawi, Deputy Minister of Transport, General Tan Sri Datuk Sri Zulkifli Mohammed Zain, Malaysian Chief of Armed Forces, Datuk Azharuddin Abdul Rahman, Director General Department of Civil Aviation, Ahmad Jawhar Hidayah, Chief Executive Officer, Malaysian Airlines System. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, to start off the press conference this evening, I hereby call upon Datuk Sri Hishamuddin Tun Hussein, Acting Minister of Transport, to deliver his statement. Sir, if you please do us the honor.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been almost a month since MH370 went missing. The search operation has been difficult, challenging, and complex. But in spite of all this, our determination remains undiminished. We will continue to search with the same level of vigor and intensity. We owe this to the families on those on board and to the wider world. We will continue to focus with all our efforts on finding the aircraft. As per the requirements set out by the ICAO in Annex 13 of the International Standards and Recommended Practices, Malaysia will continue to lead the investigation into MH370. As per the ICAO standards, Malaysia will also appoint an independent investigator in charge to lead an investigation team. The investigation team will include 3 groups: an airworthiness group to look at issues such as maintenance, records, structures, and systems; an operations group to examine things such as flight recorders, operations, and meteorology; and a medical and human factors group to investigate issues such as psychology, pathology, and survival factors. The investigation team will also include accredited countries. Malaysia has already asked Australia to be accredited to the investigation team, and they have accepted. We will also include China, the United States, the United Kingdom, and France as accredited representatives to the investigation team, along with other countries that we feel are in a position to help. In addition to the new investigation team mentioned above, the government, in order to streamline and strengthen our ongoing efforts, has established 3 ministerial committees. Firstly, we have established a next of kin committee. Hamzah Zainuddin, the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, leads this committee. This committee will oversee all aspects regarding the next of kin of those on board MH370, providing families with information on the search operation and offering support after the search operation has been concluded. The committee will coordinate with relevant foreign governments and will complement the work already being done for the families by Malaysian Airlines. The second committee oversees technicalities, specifically the formation and the appointment of the investigation team. Abdul Aziz Kaprawi, the Deputy Minister of Transport, leads this committee. The third committee takes over issues related to the deployment of assets for the search operation. Abdul Rahim Bakri, the Deputy Minister of Defence, leads this committee. This committee will work with foreign counterparts involved in the search operation and liaise closely with Australian Joint Agency Coordination Centre. This morning, I returned from the US ASEAN Defence Forum, which I attended in my capacity as Defence Minister. At the forum, I updated our ASEAN counterparts and the United States on the latest developments in the search for MH370. I also spoke to officials from other countries involved in the multinational search operations, and the spirit of cooperation at this meeting and the support offered was commendable. During my bilateral meetings with the U.S. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel, Secretary Hagel reiterated his commitment that the United States would continue to support the search operation and will provide whatever assets are deemed necessary. I thanked Secretary Hagel for the United States' unwavering support, which has included both the deployment of naval and air assets, sophisticated underwater search equipment, and assistance from the FBI, the NTSB, and the FAA. At the forum, I also received strong support from our ASEAN partners in the search for MH370. I would like to read out the joint statement issued by the ASEAN ministers, which I believe underscores the tremendous spirit of cooperation within ASEAN in the face of this difficult search operation, and I quote, "We, the defense ministers of the member states of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, express our deepest sympathies to the family members of the passengers and crew on board the missing Malaysian Airlines flight MH370. We acknowledge that the member nations of ASEAN have participated in the search operations directly and indirectly since the plane went missing on the 8th of March 2014. From the South China Sea, the Andaman Sea, to the Indian Ocean, ASEAN has continued to assist in every way possible, true to the spirit of regional cooperation and friendship, without any hesitation in sharing of information, assets, and expertise. We believe that Malaysia has done its level best in its response to this unprecedented predicament, given the sheer scale of the search and rescue operation, which is the biggest and most complex we have ever seen. We reaffirm our commitment for greater cooperation between each member nation, especially in the field of disaster management, under the framework of the ASEAN Agreement on Disaster Management and Emergency Response. This incident stressed upon us the importance of information and resource sharing as we strive to be in the utmost state of readiness in mitigating potential calamities and risks. ASEAN's unity will remain solid and is totally committed to assisting Malaysia in coordinating the massive SAR to locate MH370. We are resolute in finding a closure to this tragic chapter in aviation history. Our thoughts and prayers remain with the families in these difficult times. Before I end, ladies and gentlemen, let me touch on some unfounded allegations made against Malaysia. These allegations include the extraordinary assertion that Malaysian authorities were somehow complicit in what happened to MH370. I should like to state for the record that these allegations are completely untrue. As I've said before, the search for MH370 should be above politics. And so I call on all Malaysians to unite, to stand by our armed forces as they work in difficult conditions with their foreign counterparts, thousands of miles from home, and to support all those who are working tirelessly in the search for MH370. Lastly, as I mentioned on Wednesday, while I was on the US ASEAN Defense Forum, I spoke by telephone to the British Secretary of State for Defense, Philip Hammond, regarding the nuclear-powered submarine HMS Tireless. I hereby confirm that the submarine is now in the search area and helping in the search operation. I now invite the Chief of Defense Force to update you on the submarine's capabilities.
HMS Tireless is a Trafalgar-class nuclear-powered submarine with an unlimited range and endurance. Whereas conventional submarines require refueling, the HMS Tireless is only limited by food supplies and by human endurance. This submarine is designed to operate globally, including in the most extreme conditions such as the Arctic and the Antarctic. We believe at this time that any assets that can assist in locating MH370 are most appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, the floor is now open for Q&A session. We'll start with local media. I would appreciate. Okay, in front here, Astro Awani. Could you please? Microphones. Wendy? Yes, please. Could you stand? No, the panel. Okay, thank you. Could you stand up and identify yourself?
Salam.
Daripada Astro Awani. Datuk Sri, mungkin Datuk Sri boleh berikan pandangan daripada pandangan penyiasat di mana adakah penumpang MH370 masih hidup. Ini kerana setakat ini hanya MAS yang nyatakan yang menganggap tiada yang selamat on board. Dan bagaimanapun PM terdahulu telah pun menyatakan tidak pun menyatakan dia terhempas. Jadi apakah maknanya ini? Dan daripada pandangan penyiasat sendiri, adakah masih berharap penumpang MH370 ini masih hidup?
Ini merupakan harapan keluarga daripada perjumpaan saya dengan mereka bahawa dalam apa jua keadaan betapa tipis pun kemungkinan mereka masih lagi selamat. Doa dan usaha kita untuk mencari mereka dan kemungkinan mereka yang walaupun tipis masih selamat itu masih menjadi pegangan mereka. Sebab tu saya merayu kepada orang ramai, kenyataan yang amat berhormat Perdana Menteri hanya menyatakan bahawa kapal terbang itu telah pun habis penerbangannya di Lautan Hindi, tidak bermakna bahawa ia terhempas. Sebab itu kita mesti memahami mereka yang masih lagi harap dan berdoa, even though it is a miracle, even though it is hoping against hope. If that is the wishes of the family, I think it is only proper that we respect their wishes and pray that the miracle does happen.
Behind the room, please. Could you stand up, sir?
With me, Datuk Sri.
You're from, sir?
I'm from Malaysia. I have two questions directed to Mas CEO Datuk Sri Ahmad Johari. The first one is regarding the avionics workshop. The incident of avionics workshop in Subang. Is the workshop process any equipment for MH370? This is question number one. The second question is there are reports claiming that the pinger battery of MH370 black box is due to 2012, but MAS did not do the replacement for this battery, so it makes the battery of the pinger of the black box become shorter. So can you respond over this? Thank you.
First, as far as the avionics workshop in Malaysia Airlines, we do repair and also service avionics equipment on board of all aircrafts. So that workshop is certified to do so. Okay. And as far as the battery, what is reported, we confirm that there's a maintenance program whereby the batteries are replaced prior to expiry. And we do know that the batteries are due for replacement only in June 2014. All right.
Okay, next questions. Yes, please, sir. Could you stand up and identify yourself, please, sir?
Selamat petang Datuk Sri, Kadir daripada RTM.
Ya, Kadir.
Saya ada satu soalan untuk Datuk Sri. Soalan pertama, sehingga hari ini, iaitu hampir sebulan kita mengadakan sidang media sama ada di sama-sama hotel atau di PWTC, kita masih lagi menunggu pasukan teknikal Boeing untuk sama-sama dengan kita menjelaskan aspek-aspek teknikal berkenaan kepada pesawat tersebut. Boleh Datuk Sri komen sedikit kenapa sampai sekarang mereka masih belum lagi tampil ke hadapan untuk menerangkan aspek-aspek teknikal tersebut?
Terima kasih. Untuk pengetahuan semua, pasukan Boeing ada bersama kita. Mereka bersama-sama dengan pasukan penyiasat yang menyiasat di manakah penerbangan tersebut berakhir, dan mereka bersama dengan NTSB, AIB dan juga pasukan daripada penyiasat dari Australia dan juga negara China. Mereka ada di sini, dan juga kita ada mereka juga dihubungi melalui telefon, melalui komunikasi yang lain, email mengenai apa yang dijalankan untuk menyiasat performance of the aircraft, prestasi aircraft, supaya penyiasat di sini dapat mengenal pasti di mana letaknya pesawat di akhir penerbangan pesawat tersebut. Jadi mereka sentiasa ada bersama dengan pasukan penyiasat. Terima kasih.
Dan perkembangan terkini seperti saya umumkan tadi, 3 kumpulan siasatan yang telah kita wujudkan, dan pakar-pakar ni semua pun akan jadi ahli anggota kepada kumpulan ini, dan pada masa-masa yang akan datang dan apabila ianya sesuai nanti, saya percaya bahawa mereka akan tampil ke hadapan. Tidak ada perkara yang perlu kita nak sembunyikan, tetapi biarlah ikut prosedur dan struktur yang telah kita tubuhkan.
Okay, please.
Datuk Seri Khairul daripada utusan, kita maklum bahawa imej-imej satelit yang didapati sekarang daripada sumber satelit cuaca dan geoimaging dari Thailand, Jepun, Australia dan Perancis. Soalan saya, ada atau tidak pihak lain terutama Amerika Syarikat menawarkan data dari maklumat satelit perisikan? Jikalau tidak ada, mengapa?
Setakat hari ini dari segi satellite imaging, kita dah mengenal pasti ada 6. Dan ini pun kita dah umumkan kepada pihak media. Tidak ada maklumat terkini atau laporan dan data baru yang berhubung kait dengan data satelit. Dan seperti semua maklum, usaha kita sekarang ialah untuk memastikan bahawa pesawat dan kapal-kapal yang ada dapat melihat sendiri di kawasan-kawasan yang telah pun dikenal pasti itu sama ada objek yang telah pun dapat ditangkap melalui satelit merupakan objek yang datangnya daripada MH370. Itu tumpuan kita hari ini dan tidak ada lagi images yang baru setahu saya.
Okay, yes, your question, please.
Hi, Dato' Sri, Melissa and TV7.
Hi.
Dato', I just want to ask, the 227 passengers have been cleared of any suspicions. How about the crew members? Why is it taking so long? Thanks.
Sorry?
The crew members.
About being cleared?
Yeah. The 200.
I don't think anybody has been cleared from any of the investigations. And like I said, as far as the manifest list, which includes the crew as well, the 4 possibilities that IGP has constantly reminded us, which is whether it is an investigation on terrorism, hijacking, psychological or personal, that as I know is still ongoing.
Okay, the other side, second row.
Okay, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Dari bernama. Okay, I have 2 questions. The first question is to Datuk Sri and Datuk Azharuddin. Right, during the last press conference, one of the questions that was raised was about the diagram presented in Beijing, which show the aircraft instead of divert sharply, the aircraft make a loop. Right, so. Has this diagram been confirmed? Has this been verified, the diagram, whether or not the aircraft did make a loop instead of divert to the left? The other question is for Ahmad Johari, MAS. During the last press conference at Sama-Sama Hotel, I remember asking about the fuel capacity of MH370. So, you told us before the flight MH370 was flying with reserve capacity up to 8 hours flight. So, during the time the flight was last detected at 8:11 a.m. between the 2 corridors, that was already about 8 hours flight. So, is it possible for the aircraft to fly further down to southern Indian Ocean when there are less than half an hour fuel capacity in the aircraft? So exactly how much is the fuel capacity in that plane during that time? Thank you.
Okay, for the first question, the manner that the aircraft make the turn as reported in the Beijing by next of kin is not true. The aircraft does not make a loop and turn to the left. It's not true.
As far as the fuel is concerned, we know the aircraft took 8 hours of fuel. The exact figure is actually with the investigation team. So in terms of the weight of the fuel. So when we correlate that versus the last known signal, which is about 8:11 thereabout, it is about 8 hours of flight. So we do not have any more after that. I know they are looking for some more data, but that's it. The aircraft will just run out of fuel. All right?
Yes, please, sir. Correct. Could you stand, please?
Dr. Sri Hisham, I'm Keith from BFM 89.9.
Okay.
The Pentagon has revealed that it has spent more than $3 million so far in the search for MH370. In your capacity as Defense Minister, how much have Malaysian taxpayers spent? And if you can't reveal it now, when can the public know? Thank you very much.
As I said earlier, our immediate focus and what I promised the families is really to look for their loved ones and the plane. That goes beyond dollars and cents.
Okay. Front here, last question from the local media.
Good evening, Dr. Sri. I'm Sulin from the Malay Mail Online. I'd like to ask if you think Malaysia should issue an apology to all the nationalities on board, if only to smooth diplomatic ties, even if what happened may not necessarily be our fault in that sense, but it was still our plane that went missing. Thanks.
I don't think there is one solution to smooth anything in this tragic incident. Definitely not just an apology. It requires a lot of soul searching. It requires a lot of emotional support. It involves a lot of sharing of information and data. But what is more important right now is to remain focused, which is already a very massive task, to locate the aircraft in the Indian Ocean with all its challenges, and to coordinate so many countries and so many assets to do that. The sophisticated equipment that is being used in itself is a massive operation. But what gives me strength right now is not about money, it's not about apology, but the fact that so many people have looked at it in such a positive way, have come forward willingly to assist. And that is something that we can all draw strength from, because if this goes on any longer, we need every bit of strength that we can, especially to get to the truth of what actually happened to MH370.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we go to the foreign media. Yes, please, sir.
Good evening, gentlemen. Jim
Evening.
Clancy with CNN.
Hi.
Good to see all of you. We're 4 weeks into this, and I know you've been working tirelessly. I want to go back over, right from the start, just a little bit, if you'll bear with me. I know that other countries have helped by contributing their radar records.
Right.
As we combine all of that, you work with the international team members, what do we really know about how many course changes it made, about what its lowest altitude was, what its last known altitude and position was? Have we got a greater knowledge today, a greater understanding today?
Good question in trying to find out what actually happened, but my simple answer would be if we can actually find the aircraft and the black box, it will give more to what we already have. But my discussions with the ASEAN defense ministers and our forum with the United States in Hawaii yesterday showed how much we can learn from this incident. And we're looking at a whole new landscape, be it through satellite, be it primary, secondary radar, civil or military. And it makes us all relook at our capability and our capacity. In the context of ASEAN, for example, all nations, from the fact that at the beginning we worked so closely together, in the South China Sea and the Andaman, and looking at the primary radar. And all that will have to be digested. And those panels of inquiries, those groups that we are establishing, which will include experts from most of these countries, I think will make us really relook at that landscape that you were asking about, sir. And but I would not limit it specifically to this particular case, because it's an ongoing operations that we are doing, the SAR. And like I said, in this particular case, by finding data and the black box and that plane itself, I think that will help us in finding out what happened to MH370. But bigger than that, how we are where we are today after a month requires all of us, the world actually, to relook at what we have, what we can do more together. And I think that is a much more positive way of looking at what this journey that we're going on through right now.
How many countries gave you radar? Can you name them? And do we have a minimum altitude?
Well,
Maximum?
I can just rely on what I read to you just now on ASEAN. The data information, and in my capacity as defense minister, I have no problems getting the military information and the radar from those countries. Then countries outside ASEAN, unless I get their permission, you will appreciate that these are sensitive information. You might want to ask them directly. But as far as ASEAN is concerned, and from my own experience, there has been no country out there in this particular case that has been a hindrance to our request for further information on the flight of MH370, whether it is from satellite or from radar, whether it's from military or civil.
Okay. Foreign media. Second row. Please, sir, identify yourself.
Hello, yeah, I'm from Xinhua News Agency in China. And considering the search, analysis, and the investigation took a very long time to produce concrete results. So what plan do you have in comforting and making arrangements for the relatives? Thank you.
You want to answer it?
Once we have any evidence of the aircraft, we'll make arrangement for fly all the relatives and also families down to, I think the current arrangement is to fly them to Perth.
Can I also allow Dr. Hamzah Zainuddin, who I announced just now, the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, who's leading the ministerial committee regarding next of kin, to say a few words too.
We actually just formed our new committee. We are looking at all the possibilities. The committee is actually to look into pre and post conclusion operation. MAS is part of our committee. The reason being, we are not looking into one country alone, because there are many other nationalities are involved. That's the reason that actually we formed this committee. By having this committee, we can coordinate the work done by MAS and also other agencies in order for us to relook at overall in terms of pre and post conclusion operation in the future. Thank you.
Can I also add that from the reports that I've received, cooperation from the missions and also from the countries in which the passengers come from also be of great assistance to us. In this case, China, of course, have got the most number of passengers that are missing. Close cooperation between China and Malaysia is imperative. And that is why the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs has been appointed to lead this committee.
Okay, there one's second row. Channel, okay, please.
Hi, Datuk Sri
Hi.
from Channel News Asia. We are approaching the 1 month mark since MH370 disappeared. Now,
Yeah, I can only speak for Malaysia, and Malaysia will not stop looking for MH370.
Okay, Jason? Could you stand up, please, sir? Thank you.
Jason here from the Wall Street Journal. I know how long would it take for you to declare actually that the aircraft is lost and you have to move on? How long will it take? Is there a convention in that sense that will decide?
There's no conventional standard when the aircraft will be declared lost. That's more of if you talk about the law in Malaysia about missing person, you got to wait for 7 years, but that's human being. But for aircraft to search for the aircraft, as mentioned by the minister, we won't stop. We will look for the aircraft as long as it takes.
Okay. Third row. Yes, the other side, please. Thank you.
Sir, Eileen from Associated Press.
Hi.
Sir, it's been more than about 2 weeks, I think, since the search began in the Indian Ocean, and so far no wreckage has been found. I just want to find out, do experts and the search team, do you believe that the plane could have ended intact in the ocean, somewhere in the ocean bed, and therefore that's the reason why you're not finding any wreckage? Could you perhaps, is that a possible scenario that you're looking at?
That would be speculative, and I would not want to go down that road.
Okay, last question. Yes, front row, number 3. Thank you.
Ingrid from CNN.
Hi.
Last communication from you was not conclusive. Whose voice was heard in the cockpit recordings? Individuals who have gone to the briefings for the families have told us that none of the family members have been able to listen to that recording. It would seem that the family of the pilot or the co-pilot, the first officer, would be able to positively identify the voice in the recording. Why have you not allowed or not been able to let the families of those two individuals listen to the recordings?
It was first a transcript of the conversation between the pilots and the tower, and I managed to convince the investigating authorities to release that. On the audio, I've been told that they are still investigating the audio evidence that exists, and is still pending investigation and cannot be released at the moment. Is that it?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the session for today.
Thank you very much.